A committee of the Texas House took up a controversial bill that would make illegally crossing the border a state crime.
In Texas, passing a strict new immigration bill, it authorizes police officers to arrest migrants.
Time you apply a consequence to a violation of law, you see the number of illegal border crossers drop exponentially.
Immigration law enforcement entity that is untrained, undermanned, and under-resourced.
And then be able to process accordingly. They then go before a magistrate, and the magistrate's going to ask them, would you like to go ahead and leave?
Idaho House passes controversial immigration bill. The Idaho House of Representatives recently passed a controversial immigration bill, HB 753, sponsored by Representatives Jaron Crane, R. Nampa. The bill was approved by a vote of 53-15. It introduces measures similar to a Texas law that is currently in legal disputes. HB 753 creates the offense of illegal entry into Idaho. It criminalizes entry for non-U.S. citizens outside of official ports of entry. The bill gives local law enforcement the power to verify immigration status. It also allows magistrate judges to order violators to return to their home countries. There are exceptions for individuals with legal presence. This includes those with work visas, asylum status, or DACA beneficiaries between 2012 and 2021. Proponents of the bill, led by Crane, argue it is a law and order initiative. They aim to strengthen local law enforcement's role in immigration enforcement, a typically federal responsibility. Crane stresses that the bill targets illegal residents, not any specific demographic. Critics, including House Assistant Minority Leader Lauren Nicosia Du Bois, argue Idaho should not handle immigration matters. On the other hand, Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris and Idaho Tough on Crime representatives supported it. In a noteworthy bipartisan move, 5 Republicans, including Representatives Douglas Pickett, David Cannon, Clay Handy, Steve Miller, and Jack Nelson, joined Democrats in voting against the bill. This highlights the complexity and divisiveness of the issue. The bill's similarity to Texas Senate Bill 4 adds controversy, as the Texas law is facing ongoing legal challenges. Critics argue that Idaho risks similar legal entanglements which could drain state resources and time. Crane's confidence in the bill's constitutionality, shown by his dismissal of cost concerns, contrasts with the cautious stance of those who oppose the bill. His assumption that legal challenges would be easily overcome may not hold true due to the complexities of state-level immigration enforcement.
A committee of the Texas House took up a controversial bill that would make illegally crossing the border a state crime.
About it, House Bill 753, it creates new crimes dealing with illegal immigration, specifically in the state of Idaho. And
not a criminal offense to enter the state illegally right now. This would change that. Also, there's a similar bill in the Senate right now.
An alien legally means any person not a citizen or national of the United States.
Beyond legal and procedural aspects, the bill's impact on immigrant communities and the labor market is also important. The lack of comprehensive immigration reform at the federal level has led states to independently navigate this challenging area, resulting in varied approaches and legal disputes. The rapid passage of HB 753 underscores the perceived urgency among its supporters in addressing immigration concerns. However, there are lingering worries about the bill's potential unintended consequences, efficacy, and legality. The Idaho House's decision resonates beyond state borders, reflecting broader debates on immigration policy and state-federal jurisdiction. As similar bills appear across the country, Idaho's case serves as a reflection of the complexities and tensions in current immigration discussions.
Legislation is to close down the borders, use our law enforcement that's already in place. These guys know how and what to do.
Any peace officer in the state would have the power to drive an undocumented person to a border port of entry.
In Texas, passing a strict new immigration bill, it authorizes police officers to arrest migrants.
Ask some questions that they need to ask to find out if someone is here as an illegal alien. You'll see the definition of alien on page 1.
Implications and controversies. As the legislative session in Idaho neared its expected conclusion, lawmakers dealt with many proposals, including one particularly controversial topic: illegal immigration within the state. The session schedule shifted several times due to the complexity of the legislative agenda. House Bill 753 or HB 753 emerged as a significant piece of legislation aimed at addressing illegal immigration within Idaho. Introduced late in the session, the bill proposes new criminal measures targeting illegal immigration. HB 753 uses the United States Code to define an alien as someone who is not a U.S. citizen or national. The bill states that entering or attempting to enter Idaho directly from a foreign nation, except through a lawful port of entry, would be a misdemeanor on the first conviction and a felony for repeat offenses. The bill also gives Idaho judges and magistrates more authority to order certain aliens to return to their home countries. If they fail to comply with these orders, they could face felony charges.
Lawmakers are still pitching some new ideas, trying to tackle even some big topics like, I don't know, illegal immigration.
The Senate has again a similar proposal that would penalize by 1 year in jail anyone caught without proper documentation.
And then be able to process accordingly. They then go before a magistrate, and the magistrate's going to ask them, would you like to go ahead and leave?
Time you apply a consequence to a violation of law, you see the number of illegal border crossers drop exponentially.
Additionally, HB 753 requires processing non-citizens found under this law, including taking fingerprints, photos, and biometric data to document their status. Representative Jaron Crane, the bill's sponsor, defends the timing of the bill's introduction by pointing to what he sees as the federal's inability to handle immigration issues effectively. The legislation aims to strengthen border security by utilizing existing law enforcement infrastructure. It gives officials the power to verify the immigration status of individuals aiming to address illegal immigration within Idaho. However, HB 753 has faced major criticism. Modeled after a Texas law currently embroiled in legal disputes, the bill has drawn objections regarding its potential impact on the workforce, concerns over its perceived lack of humanity, and fears about the misuse of taxpayer dollars. Legal experts have also questioned the constitutionality of the proposed law, noting that immigration matters typically fall under federal authority. As the bill moves through the legislative process, there are questions about its practical implementation and compatibility within existing legal frameworks. Idaho lawmakers are debating the bill's merits and potential effects, and doubts remain about its alignment with federal regulations and constitutional provisions. Whether it represents a significant policy shift or merely a symbolic gesture is unclear, highlighting the intricate relationship between state and federal authority in shaping immigration policy. Regardless of its outcome, HB 753 highlights the persistent complexities and controversies surrounding immigration regulation in the United States. Border clashes at Gate 36. Amid escalating tensions between Texas officials and migrants, Gate 36 experienced heightened security measures after a rush by hundreds of migrants at the border the previous day. The atmosphere remained intense as Texas National Guard and state troopers, dressed in helmets and bulletproof vests, issued warnings to migrants through loudspeakers. They cautioned migrants against trespassing or damaging the razor wire barriers. Reports indicated that law enforcement officers drew their weapons and fired non-lethal projectiles at migrants attempting to breach the border defenses. This dramatic scene unfolded after Texas Governor Greg Abbott deployed additional National Guard troops to Gate 36 and installed more razor wire in response to the previous day's events. Over 500 migrants had stormed the border, bypassing National Guard troops to surrender themselves to Border Patrol authorities. The situation turned violent when one migrant was detained for attacking a National Guardsman, as confirmed by El Paso's District Attorney Bill Hicks. Hicks stressed a zero-tolerance approach towards such acts of aggression, emphasizing that individuals cannot attack law enforcement without facing consequences. U.S. Border Patrol agents were not directly involved in the clashes, underscoring the pivotal role of the National Guard in border security operations. Critics emerged regarding the National Guard's handling of the situation, with Congresswoman Veronica Escobar voicing concerns over their lack of expertise and resources. Escobar criticized the use of an ad hoc immigration law enforcement entity, calling it undertrained, undermanned, and under-resourced. She highlighted the challenges of assigning unprepared personnel to complex border enforcement duties and called for a reassessment of current strategies.
Hundreds of migrants forcing their way through a wire barrier to flood the border gates, trampling over Texas National Guard troops,
thinking that they can assault our National Guardsmen, can assault our Border Patrol, can assault our troopers and get away with
500 migrants forcing their way through the wire to get to the border wall.
Immigration law enforcement entity that is untrained, undermanned, and under-resourced.
In response to the criticism, Governor Abbott used social media to reaffirm Texas' commitment to border security. He pledged to reinforce border defenses and instructed the Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest every migrant involved in criminal trespass and property damage, signaling a firm stance against perceived threats to border integrity. The clashes at Gate 36 highlighted the broader challenges facing border security efforts and the complexities of immigration enforcement. The situation exposed tensions between state and federal authorities responsible for securing the border and managing migration flows. Beyond immediate security concerns, the incidents at Gate 36 reignited debates over immigration policy and border enforcement practices. Critics argue that relying on military and law enforcement personnel for immigration enforcement could worsen tensions and lead to human rights violations. Moreover, the clashes highlighted the need for comprehensive immigration reform and greater cooperation between federal and state agencies. Addressing the root causes of migration, investing in border infrastructure, and providing pathways to legal immigration are essential for a holistic approach to border management. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.